Hello, today we're going to explain Breakaway. What if he appeared in Transformers Revenge of the Fallen? So, between Transformers and Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, he would come down to Earth and scan a military jet. Now, during the beginning, when Demolisher transforms and latches his hands down a nest, Breakaway would transform, pull out his rocket launcher, and then shoot Demolisher in the head. Demolisher would let out a run and fall. And then Breakaway would pull out his machine gun, shooting at Demolisher's tire. Demolisher would try to crush Breakaway with his gigantic hand, but fails. And that's when Breakaway pulls out his rocket launcher and then stuffs it into Demolisher's head. Demolisher tries to get it out, but Breakaway shoots it, pulls the trigger, or shoots it, killing Demolisher completely. Now, when Sam's getting interrogated by Megatron, Breakaway would come out of nowhere, grabbing Megatron by the face and slamming him into the concrete. Megatron would pull out his blade, but Breakaway would grab it, snap it, and then make Megatron stab himself with the blade through the chest, damaging Megatron. And then Megatron would try to shoot Breakaway, but Breakaway would dodge. That's when Breakaway would pull out his rocket launcher and shoot Megatron's cannon, making Megatron's cannon completely fall off. Megatron pulls out his '07 cannon, and Breakaway's like, "Oh no, I'm dead." And then Breakaway shoots it with his machine gun. Megatron want to call Starscream to help him. And that's when Bumblebee and Optimus come in. And, sorry about that background. Would come in. Bumblebee would put on his battle mask and make his hand turn into a gun. Bumblebee would fire it at Megatron. Megatron transforming into a tank and retreating. Now, I would not really include the forest battle because Megatron lost his cannon. So we're not really going to include that. Now, let's go into the final battle for some reason. So, during the final battle, Breakaway finds the Matrix of Leadership and gives it to Optimus. But the Fallen teleports and uses his staff and hits Breakaway. And then the Fallen stabs Optimus in the chest with the Fallen staff. It was the Fallen who stabbed. That stabbed Optimus. Sorry for the background, because it keeps on happening over and over again. So that's when the Fallen laughs and kicks Breakaway in the face, making Breakaway vulnerable and kind of unconscious. Breakaway would get up, but see Optimus not standing on his feet because the Matrix is gone. That's when he says something. That's when Breakaway says, "Optimus, I know what you need. You need Jetfire's pulse." Now, Optimus would get Jetfire's pulse. And once the Star Harvester is destroyed and Megatron got his face destroyed, the Fallen would almost rip off Optimus's like jet booster, but Breakaway would come out of nowhere, shooting the Fallen with his rocket launcher. And then Breakaway would grab the Fallen staff and stab the Fallen in the face. And that's when Breakaway would say, "Give me your face." And then the Fallen's face comes off. And that's when Breakaway throws the staff and grabs the Fallen's head, crushing the Fallen's head completely into nothing. Moving on to the Dark and the Moon. Now, during the Mexican standoff, or should I say the freeway chase. So the freeway chase would be kind of normal, except Breakaway would be there. Instead of Bumblebee, it would be Breakaway. So the dreads transform, and then Dino would latch onto Hatchet. Breakway would transform, still flying, and then pull out his missile launcher, shooting Crowbar in the face, making Crowbar damaged. And he got his face like exploded, just like Megatron's face. So Breakway would keep on flying. He noticed Hatchet wouldn't die. So Breakway would go down, pull out, and then unequip his rocket launcher weapon. He would grab Hatchet and then twist Hatchet's neck, and then ripping Hatchet's neck off. Crankcase would notice this all. Crankcase would try to grab Breakway, but Breakway would pull out his rocket launcher weapon and shoot Crankcase in the chest, making Crankcase fall. And then Crowbar tackles Breakway. Breakway noticing this, Breakway pulls out his rocket launcher and then shoves it into Crankcase's chest. Crankcase would say pathetic, and then Breakway would shoot the rocket launcher inside of Crankcase's body, killing Crankcase completely forever. Now when Crowbar sees this, Crowbar gets slashed in half by Breakway with his battle axe. Breakway, he would put his battle axe away. And that's when Crowbar would get his entire head ripped off by Dino. Moving on when Ironhide dies by Sentinel. Now we're gonna go ahead and see when Sentinel kills Iron. A Bumblebee and a Breakway are there. Now this is how the battle would have went. So when Sentinel cocks his gun, Breakway pulls out his rocket launcher weapon and shoots Sentinel. Ironhide would say, "Why'd you shoot him?" Breakway would say, "He was about to kill you with his rust cannon." Bumblebee would transform, pull out his head. Now, that's when Ironhide, Bumblebee, and Breakway versus Sentinel had an immense crazy battle. Breakway would tackle Sentinel Prime. Sentinel would kneecap Breakway in the face, kicking Breakway away. Breakway would pull out his machine gun and shoot Sentinel in the back, making Sentinel pull out his sword weapon and about to stab Breakway. Ironhide, in the nick of time, pulls out his gun, and shoots Sentinel in the head, making Sentinel fall down. Bumblebee would grab Sentinel's head and try to throw him, but Sentinel would grab Bumblebee's hand, twist it, badly damaging Bumblebee. Breakway would grab Sentinel by the head, trying to rip his head off, just like how he did to Hatchet. Ironhide notices that Sentinel's about to headbutt Breakway in the chest. Breakway headbutts Sentinel in the head, making Sentinel fall to the ground, with Breakway still on his head. Breakway about to punch Sentinel. Sentinel would hit Breakway in the face, making energon come out of Breakway's mouth. Breakway would hit the fence, and then that's when Ironhide pulls out both of his cannons and starts shooting at Sentinel. Sentinel would pull out his cosmic rust cannon and shoot Ironhide, making Ironhide severely damaged. He would shoot Ironhide 4 times, 3 times in the chest and 1 time in the head, killing Ironhide. Bumblebee and Breakway are in shock seeing Ironhide die. Breakway would become extremely mad and grab Sentinel's head, throwing him into a nearby building. Breakway would grab Sentinel's helmet and throw him again near Nest. As Bumblebee would fix his arm in place, but once Bumblebee is about to shoot Sentinel cocks his gun and shoots Bumblebee, damaging Bumblebee a lot in the chest. Breakaway tackles Sentinel. Sentinel Prime kicks Breakaway in the chest. Breakaway grabs Sentinel's rust cannon and about to pull the trigger. But before Breakaway can pull the trigger, Breakaway grabs the cosmic rust cannon and fires it at Bumblebee, damaging Bumblebee. Breakaway would kick Sentinel and hit Sentinel with the cosmic rust cannon. And then that's when Breakaway almost pulls the trigger, but of the cosmic rust cannon. So that's when Sentinel punches Breakaway across the face, making the cosmic rust cannon fly into space. Breakaway would pull out his machine gun and start shooting at Sentinel's face. And then Breakaway would tackle Sentinel Prime, making Sentinel Prime actually fall to the ground. Bumblebee would try to get up on his feet, but noticing his own body fades. But Sentinel would be close to slashing Breakaway's face. Sentinel would grab his rust cannon and the weapon, and then Sentinel would transform and drive away. And that's when Breakaway calls Ratchet because Bumblebee got shot by the cosmic rust cannon. Ironhide already dead. And notices how his old comrade Ironhide and his old comrade Bumblebee about to die. So that's when the medic Ratchet tries everything he can to stop the cosmic rust from Bumblebee. And the last attempt that Ratchet does, it works. But Bumblebee scans a new alt mode, a yellow card, his Age of Extinction card. You'd scan his Age of Extinction, transform his Age of Extinction card. Moving on to actually Optimus Prime's rage. When Optimus comes flying through, Sam yells Optimus. Breakaway also there, going with Optimus. Breakaway would transform and tackle the Prototypes. He's pulling out his rocket launcher and shooting Long Haul in the face. He's killing Long Haul. And then Breakaway would grab sideways and slam him into the ground. And then Breakaway would shoot sideways in the chest, damaging sideways. And then he would notice Brawl and shoot Brawl with his machine gun and rocket blaster. Brawl would be severely injured by this attack. And then Brawl would look up and notice Breakaway's about to snap his head off. Breakaway snaps Brawl's head off and then throws it at Shockwave. Shockwave falls, and then Shockwave tries to put his eye back into place. But Shockwave can't do it because Optimus pulls out his knuckle dusters and pounds and punches Shockwave in the chest. Breakaway would come out of nowhere and pulling out his rocket launcher weapon and shoves it into Shockwave's eye. And then Breakaway would shoot it, killing Shockwave. In the final battle, when Sentinel and Prime are fighting, when Sentinel goes and Optimus is still in his prime, and once Sentinel is about it. Now let's go to the scene where Optimus gets his arm stabbed. When Sentinel was about to stab Optimus, this Breakaway transforms and tackles Sentinel Prime. And Breakaway says, "This is for Ironhide." Breakaway would kick Sentinel in the head. And Sentinel would try to slash Breakaway. Breakaway would pull out his battle axe and then slices the Sentinel's arm off. Sentinel grunts, and then that's when Breakaway grabs Sentinel's rust cannon and says, "This is for Ironhide." and then shoots Sentinel in the head, making the cosmic rust cannon, making Sentinel injured. And then Sentinel would try to fix his head, but he can't. Breakway would pull the trigger 3 times. 5 times actually. 3 times in Sentinel's chest, 2 times in Sentinel's head, killing Sentinel good. Megatron would come and notice this. Breakway would almost pull the trigger, or Megatron would say, "Who would you be without me, Prime Breakway?" They would both say, "Time to find out." Prime would use his Energon blade and axe, while Breakway uses Sentinel's rust cannon. Not Sentinel. Breakway would shoot with the cosmic rust cannon at Megatron. Megatron damaged by it. Optimus stabs Megatron in the chest. And Optimus uses his Energon axe to try and rip off Megatron's head. Breakway would pull the trigger 3 times at Megatron's chest. And Optimus would pull his Energon axe, killing the Decepticon leader for good. Now, it would be the exact same. And the ending would actually be with all the Autobots, even some that were not cut. Now moving on to Age of Extinction. So in the beginning of the film, I would replace Ratchet with Breakway. So Breakway is getting hunted down by Cemetery Wind. Cemetery Wind tries to kill Breakway, but Breakway transforms in time and flies out of there. When Optimus gets his new night mode truck, Breakway comes there and he would ask what happened to Dino, Sideswipe, and the Wreckers, and Ratchet. So Breakway would explain what happened to them. So during when the Autobots are raiding KSI, Joshua Joyce says, "You can't be in here," and then Breakway snaps out. Breakway stomps on KSI's floor, and then he says this to Joshua's face. "Doesn't look like we care. You were the one who got all of our Autobots, so you need to be quiet about it." Joshua Joyce, in shock of knowing the truth, Joshua Joyce would say, "This is our own metal. This is our own metal." Breakway would snap out and say, "This is not your metal. This is our Transformium metal. It was from our soldiers that survived in the Chicago War." Now, listen. You really need to calm down about this. Now, when Optimus and Galvatron are fighting, Breakway would tackle Galvatron to the ground. Galvatron would pull out his blade, ready to slash Breakaway's head off, but he would miss. Now let's go to the scene where Optimus has Galvatron to the ground, slamming his head. Breakway, watching for any threats, gets shot by Lockdown. Optimus would see this, and he would ask Breakway what happened. KSI would say, "Pull Galvatron out." And that's when Lockdown would transform his face into a gun and shoot Optimus through the chest, making Optimus badly damaged. Optimus says he can't get up. Breakway tries to lift up Optimus, but he can't. Lockdown notices this and transforms his face into a gun. Breakway pulls out his rocket launcher gun and shoots Lockdown in the chest. It's to making Lockdown untransform his face gun. He would run all the way at Breakway. And then Lockdown would jump in the air, punching Breakway in the face. Breakway would be on the ground. And that's when Lockdown would pull out his sparky trap. And he would say, I know Optimus is right here. And where's the rest of the Autobots? Breakway pulls out his machine gun and starts shooting at Lockdown. Lockdown kicks Breakway across the face. And then Lockdown would pull out his hand instead of his sparky tractor. So that's when Lockdown captures Optimus and the Autobots are saved the kid. Now Breakway would have the plan because he was actually part of Optimus's group in the Battle of Chicago. He would tell the Autobots, he would tell Crosshairs, Hound, and Drift to disable any booby traps, while Breakway and Bumblebee will look for Optimus. So in this ship, Crosshairs, Hound, and Drift are trying to get all the booby traps out. Bumblebee and Breakway searching around with Cade Yeager. Shadow Raider, from his concept art from Age of Extinction, like his Studio Series toy, would come out of nowhere punching Breakway across the face. Bumblebee would notice this and pull out two cannons and shoot at Shadow Raider. Shadow Raider would say that does nothing. Shadow Raider would pull out a gun similar to Lockdown's face gun and shoot Bumblebee. Bumblebee injured by this. Shadow Raider pulls out a grenade, but before it can explode, Breakway grabs it and throws it at Shadow Raider. And then the grenade explodes, killing Shadow Raider instantly when it activates. So, after when all the booby traps are not able to affect anymore, they find Optimus Prime in a cage. They rescue him. Now let's go when the Dinobots are there. Bumblebee finding the KSI drones, and so is Hound, and Breakway. Breakway would kill any KSI drone he saw in path. Bumblebee noticing that Two Heads is about to slash Hound. Breakway would tackle Two Heads. Two Heads would be very shocked. And then Two Heads would get both of their heads ripped off by Breakway. And Breakway would use them as melee weapons. Breakway would throw the first head at Stinger. And then he'd throw the second head at Galvatron. Galvatron very angry. Galvatron would pull out his cannon and start shooting at Breakway. Breakway would dodge all the attacks, but Breakway would pull out his cannon and put it near Galvatron's face, shooting it, making Galvatron fall and stop. When Stinger and Bumblebee are fighting on one of the Dinobots, Breakway would fly in, transform, and tackle Stinger to the ground, making Stinger fight to Breakway. Breakway would pull out his machine gun, shooting at Stinger. Stinger, noticing this, blocks it. Stinger would tackle Breakway. Breakway would kick Stinger in the back. And Breakway would rip Stinger's big sharp thingies off. Sorry about the background. And then Breakway would use them to chop Stinger in half, killing Stinger. Now, in the final battle with Lockdown versus Optimus, I would also include Breakway. So this is how it would, and this is the new final battle would have went. Sorry about the background. So when Lockdown does a flip in the air and hits Optimus' shield, Breakway he uppercuts Lockdown. Lockdown kicks Breakway in the face. Now let's go to the scene where Lockdown hits Optimus and stabs Optimus. When Optimus gets hit, and Optimus is about to get stabbed with Optimus's own sword, and Breakaway grabs the sword and slips it out of Lockdown's hands, trying to slash Lockdown. Lockdown would dodge it and kick Breakaway in the back. And then that's when Optimus would pull out his cannon from Transformers Rise of the Beast and shoot Lockdown, making Lockdown kind of go into a Cybertronian coma. Breakaway would throw Optimus's sword at Optimus. Optimus would catch him. When Lockdown gets up, Lockdown would get grabbed by the face and then Breakaway would try to twist his neck like he did the Hatchet. He would try to twist his head, and he would notice bolts and screws coming out of Lockdown's neck. Lockdown, in the nick of time, headbutts the Breakaway in the no-no area, making Breakaway fall off of Lockdown. When Lockdown turns around, he gets stabbed by Optimus in the head. Optimus would make the sword go down and slash Lockdown into pieces, killing Lockdown for good. Now moving on to the last night. In Cade's junkyard, Cade actually makes Breakaway be able to kind of turn invisible. Not like Dino. Invisible. And Breakaway would have a shield made by Cade. Now, when Megatron is saying his crew's name, Mohawk, Onslaught, Nitro, Zeus, and Mohawk, and Barricade, when Barricade transforms and says hi to his leader, Megatron, Barricade notices a flying jet. The reason why we did not really see it in Dark of the Moon because, that's how I wanted to make it. So Breakaway would pull out a cannon and aim wherever that jet was. Someone would tap a Breakaway on the back. Breakaway would get punched in the face, making Breakaway go unconscious. Megatron, noticing this, about to shoot the person who did. Breakaway comes and punches Megatron in the face. And once Breakaway does that, he transforms and flies away. Now, moving on, when Crosshairs are having a hard time defeating Onslaught, so Breakaway would kick Onslaught in the face. Onslaught would grab Breakaway, throwing him into a bunch of train and tank cards, badly damaging Breakaway. Breakaway, noticing about it, he's about to get slashed. Crosshairs would shoot at Onslaught. Drip would cut Onslaught's leg and cut his head off. And then Breakaway would take his comrades. Now moving on with Quintessum. Now moving on to the Bumblebee versus Nemesis Prime. Nemesis Prime, when Nemesis is about to stab a Bumblebee with the dagger, Breakaway comes and tackles Nemesis. Nemesis kicks Breakaway in the face. Nemesis starts targeting at Breakaway. Now, this is when Nemesis and Breakaway had a brawl. So, when Nemesis would punch Breakaway in the face, Breakaway would fall. Breakaway would kick Nemesis Prime in the leg, making Nemesis Prime fall on his knee. And that's when my boy and that's when Breakaway does an elbow to the head. Nemesis stands up, and then Breakaway does a kick to the gut, into the Cybertronian gut. Nemesis falls on his knees. The Nemesis gets punched in the battle mask area, making the battle mask making the battle mask broken. And that's when Nemesis Prime and that's when Breakway would punch Nemesis Prime so hard that the mind control comes off Nemesis. During the final battle, when Megatron and Optimus are fighting, when Megatron doesn't get kicked out, Megatron punches Optimus across the face. Breakway grabs onto Megatron's head, slamming Megatron's head into the ground. And that's when Megatron shoots Breakway, badly damaging Breakway's chest. Breakway notices Megatron pull out his battle axe. Prime tries to slice Megatron. Prime instead gets slashed by Megatron's battle axe. And that's when Megatron stabs Breakway in the chest, making Breakway spark. And then Megatron would go super far, where it would reach Breakway's spark, making Breakway die because of the spark and the breakship. Well, that's all for all of this video. If you liked this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to like and subscribe for more Transformers What If content like this. I'll see you guys in the next video.